right, guys, anybody questions before we jump into the notes? Yeah. Are there what? I'm sorry. Yes, like this is literally the quiz. That's it. It'll be on a colored piece of paper. But yes, you have the answer key to your quiz. So hopefully that is a happy quiz. All right, guys, 3-3. Okay, so first, let's just think about our quadrants here a little bit. Okay, in the first quadrant, we know x is positive and y is positive, right? Okay. In the second quadrant, what is happening? Okay. What about in the third quadrant? Both are negative. In the fourth quadrant, the y values are negative. Yep. Okay, I know you guys know this, but when I start asking you questions about sine and cosine, this sort of leaves your brain. Don't let this leave your brain, okay? You know this, right? You've known positives and negatives on an XY grid for a very long time, right? I don't know, when do you first plot points? Like, yeah, like early? Late elementary school, middle school, okay? So, this is in your brain. We're going to use that with our sine, cosine, tangent stuff, okay? All right. So, determine the quadrant. I will give you part A here. We'll do sine of theta is greater than 0. And we'll do cotangent of theta is less than 0. All right. Is sine x or y? Y. Okay. So that's what we're going to figure out first. So just make yourself a little sketch here. Think about your quadrants. Okay. I am telling you sine is greater than 0. That means I want to know where is y greater than 0. So which two quadrants have positive y values? 1 and 2. So we know this answer cannot be in the third or the fourth quadrant. Okay. Then I look at that second piece of information, cotangent. Is cotangent dealing with x, y, or both of them? Both, okay, because it's x over y. I know that that needs to be negative. The x and y together need to be negative. So guys, think back up here how we just labeled this. The x and y together in the first quadrant, what do they give you? Positive. What about the second? Third? Fourth? Okay, that'll make sense, right? So if I want cotangent to be less than 0, and the only choices I have left are first or second quadrant, which is it? Second, yes. That's your answer, okay?
You would find that answer because of them, whichever, like, which quadrant it be, it has to be the correct quadrant, right?
Yeah, like where it's true for both.
Will it always be one quadrant or multiple?
Should only be one where it happens for both of these inequalities. That's why I like to do one piece first and eliminate two of the quadrants, and then second one from there. Okay. All right, let's try again. So this time, let's do secant of theta is greater than 0, and cosecant of theta is less than 0. You guys want to try?
Can you finish cosecant?
It's the notes I think I posted to Key and Sounds Schoology and the videos up there, so you can watch the end of the video.
If my computer for the notes.
Or like ask someone around you if you can just take a quick picture.
Okay.
It's just so you have it.
Okay.
Okay.
So isn't this like, I love the notes. It's like 1 over like cosine.
Yep. Yep. So ask a friend. Chat with your neighbors, see if you guys agree on a quadrant. Audrey's like, I don't know. I was gone. This part is a little tricky, but we'll get
This is
maybe take a picture of it. It's on Schoology too, but like just so you can look at it now, take a picture. Writing it is helpful. Okay, guys, raise your hand if you think it's quadrant 1. Good. If anything's less than 0, it's not going to be quadrant 1. Okay. Raise your hand if you think it's quadrant 2. Quadrant 3. Quadrant 4. Yay, guys, you're getting it. Okay. And if you are like, man, I really don't like secant and cosecant, with these where you're just finding the quadrant, fine. Just go, I don't want to think about it as secant. I'm going to think about it as cosine. And I'm going to think about this one as sine. Because it doesn't matter if it's flipped. You're still just looking at the x value or the y value. Okay? So this one, I'm thinking, all right, cosine I know is my x values greater than 0. That's not on the left side. Then over here, sine, my y values, and I need those to be less than 0. Well, that's definitely not the first quadrant. So 4th quadrant it is. Okay? Questions so far? Yeah.
If you didn't change the cosine to 0, how would you solve that?
If I left it as secant?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's just 1 over x. You're still looking at the x value, though. Reciprocal of it doesn't change the sign as far as positive or negative. Okay. Now let's try. Given one trig value, find the remaining trig values. I'll explain. Maybe I can write. Has it been kind of a long week, guys? Yeah. You think it's just because the end of the quarter's coming, it all just feels like a lot right now? Or, yeah? I don't know. This week felt a little hectic. Alright, so okay. I'm going to give you the sine of theta equals 4 over 5. This has nothing to do with the unit circle, okay? So you don't have to think about the unit circle with this at all. What we're gonna do, maybe, let's make a little picture. It's not what I want. Oh, and I didn't give you the last piece of the problem. I will also tell you cosine of theta is less than 0. Sorry, you definitely need that piece of information. We're going to make a little triangle based off of this information. So just like we were doing in the first problem, we have to determine what quadrant we're drawing our triangle in. I need the quadrant where sine, y values essentially, are positive, and cosine, your x values, are negative. Where does that happen? Yeah, second quadrant, okay? So when you draw the right triangle here as the picture, you will always, always, always draw the right angle on the x-axis. So your triangle will look like this. If your right angle is on the y-axis, you have drawn your triangle incorrectly and you're going to mess up the problem. Question? Okay. Sine of theta, so I know theta is my angle. It is always your angle right there by the origin. So there's theta. It's just the variable we commonly use for the angle, but not always. We'll use alpha, we'll use theta, sometimes we use x, sometimes we use y. It's just the Greek letter that you usually see when we're doing trig functions. But there's no like rule about that. All right, so let's try to label our triangle. Sine of theta is 4/5. So guys, back to SOHCAHTOA. Like, what are the 4 and the 5? What'd you say now? Opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite of the theta is here. Hypotenuse is 5. Remember, we talked about it being like y over r for sine. Okay, that matches up with what we're doing there. And then I heard, did you say 3, 4, 5 triangle? Yeah, this is a common right triangle or a Pythagorean triple. Hopefully you guys recognize 3, 4, 5. They won't all be Pythagorean triples, so sometimes you'll have to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side. But you're right, this side is 3. Is it positive 3 or negative 3? Okay, good. Well, do you have a question?
Yeah. Please, Pythagorean theorem. Will it always be a good number?
Oh no, you'll have square roots. Yeah. There's some rationalizing and simplifying radicals and all that stuff in here too. Yeah. So you're in the second quadrant.
Oh,
Okay, that's all you needed? All right, yeah, you've gone left for right? Okay. The hypotenuse will never be negative. It is just telling you that distance from the origin to the little point out there at the end of your triangle. So the hypotenuse won't be negative. Yeah.
How could a length be negative?
So it's talking about position. That's because really what you're telling me is the ordered pair of that point is negative 3, 4. Okay? So the x and y are all about positioning of the triangle. Hypotenuse is just the length. Yeah, we haven't done the answer yet. Don't worry. You set up the picture, and if you do that well, writing the answer is pretty straightforward. So it said find the remaining trig values. We were given sine. That means we need to find cosine of theta, tangent of theta, cosecant of theta, secant of theta, and cotangent of theta. I don't know why my spacing is weird.
Find all of them.
Yeah. But if you drew your picture right, hopefully it's pretty easy to do. So what is the cosine of theta? Negative 3 over 5. Good. What about tangent? Palmer? Good. Negative 4 over 3. If you wrote 4 over negative 3, that's the same thing, guys. It doesn't matter. Okay. The other 3, remember, they are just the reciprocals. So what's the cosecant going to be? 5 over 4. What about secant? Negative 5 over 3. And cotangent. Awesome. So if you take the time to set it up well, it's pretty easy to give the answers. Questions on that one? Yeah.
So when you're drawing, so wrong side or right side, right? Like the 4 in this case, or?
No. Okay. It all depends on what you're given. Like we're given sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse, or the y value over the hypotenuse, so the vertical piece. So I just label that side as 4. So it's all just what you're given. The horizontal piece is always the x, and the vertical piece is always the y. Okay. We're going to practice more, so you get another shot here. Let's try again. Ooh, maybe. All right, this time I'll tell you secant of theta is negative 13 over 12. And tangent of theta is greater than 0. Okay, when I give you a secant or a cosecant problem, if you would rather think of it as a cosine or a sine problem, you can do that. So I know eventually I'm going to have to find sine of theta, cosine of theta. Like these are the things I have to find. So before I even draw it, what is the cosine of theta? Go ahead, Nick. 12 over 13 with a negative somewhere, right? Okay. Correct. The hypotenuse cannot be negative. So even though it says negative 13/12, that just means the fraction's negative. So you're right. The 12 is actually the negative number here. Yes, good. All right. So if you like thinking of it as cosine better, do that first. That's totally fine. We still have to pick our quadrant. What quadrant is this one in? I heard a vote for 3. Agree? Disagree? 3? Yeah, are we okay with 3? Yes, that is correct. Your x value is negative, but your tangent, which is the two of them together, is positive. Okay, remember way back up here. Okay, right. This is where tangent will be positive, and this is where tangent will be positive. Okay. So I'm going to draw it. Quadrant 3. Where does your right angle go? X-axis. Good. And there's theta. All right. Try to label it, and then look up here when you're ready. What's that other side going to be? This is a Pythagorean triple, guys. It is 5. And is it positive or negative 5? Oh, good, guys. You're doing great with your signs. Okay, so now try to fill in these, and then I'll put the answers up in a second. Once you're done, check with your neighbor, see if you guys agree. Are you catching on? Okay. When you do the reciprocal, the sign doesn't change. So if it's negative, it stays negative. Yeah, it's not the opposite reciprocal, it's just the reciprocal.
I got negative 13 over 5.
You're never going to put the right angle on the y-axis. Nope.
Tangent is 5 over 5. Cosine 12 over 5.
All right, guys, are you ready? Are you doing okay? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're just a little tired back there. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, guys, what'd you get first sine of theta? Negative 5/13. Good. What about tangent?
5/12.
5/12. Good. What about cosecant? Good. And cotangent?
12/5.
Awesome. How'd we do? Good?
Yeah.
We okay? All right, let's do another one.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's try cosecant of theta is negative 3 over 2. And cotangent of theta is less than 0. I want you guys to try this one. You can work with your neighbor if you need to. Good work.
It's one.
What is one?
No.
It is not.
Oh no.
This one has a not so pretty side, okay? Like you don't have an integer for a side. You can do it, guys. Have you picked your quadrant?
Yeah.
Which quadrant? Okay, good. You guys are doing very well with that.
I just saw the right angle on the place. I look like I got 4 hours of sleep. Yeah. Mine is late. Obviously. Opposite. Oh,
Neil, what are you doing? Oh, okay. Okay. That's good.
My sister said she's on the plane. Oh, right. Oh.
Are we ready, guys, or need a minute?
Great.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes.
That was on the test. I'm glad the rationalized material right now because in seventh grade I did some problem that basically remembers the horrible problem I had in square root of 1,905.
What?
And it doesn't, and I put that on the test as an answer. And so you can imagine how I felt thinking that was an answer. It was like,
Yeah, there's like no
and it
confidence
was not
in
with a
that.
whole bunch of other numbers.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, that's no way that's right. It was like,
That feels like mean just for the sake of being
some of
mean.
the stuff on the test is wild. Like they really explain it
As like ugly and make you doubt your answer as much as possible kind of thing. Yeah, I hate those.
I don't even remember how I found
Oh, it's 2/5. Yeah, that easy. Once you memorize that pattern, for most of these will look the same.
Oh yeah, I just forgot.
I tell all my friends to look at algebra too. They all like there's a couple things that you know how to rationalize. That's like always have such simple.
I still don't know.
I like actually I learned I think I learned it myself.
You got it?
Wait, so E plus or minus squared for AC
Equals
over.
up plus minus.
You asking right?
All right, guys, let's go through this one. First, on the triangle, is everybody okay with the 2 is the only thing that's negative?
Yes.
Like, are we understanding? Don't ever put the negative with the hypotenuse.
Yes.
Okay, good. Then from there, I can just look at the sign, and I'm going to flip what the cosecant was. So negative 2/3. Cosine is just √5 over 3. Tangent, then, you'd have negative 2 over √5. So when you rationalize that, that's negative 2 √5 over 5. We're okay with that? Yes. Secant, then, is going to be the same idea. When you flip that, you have 3 over √5, which rationalizes to 3 √5 over 5. Now, cotangent, the long route would be to take this and do the reciprocal and then rationalize that. You can do that. You can get there, and then you have to simplify. Or remember, cotangent is just x over y, so you can just say negative √5 over 2 and be done. Yeah, you'll get there with all of this, but it's like, I don't know. That's that whole working efficiently thing. Try to work efficiently, guys. Yeah.
Like you said, so if you just look at the triangle and find out what X over Y is.
Yep, absolutely. Yes. Okay, guys, how are we feeling about these? Pretty good? Okay, that's the end of our notes. We have short notes again today. It was real short. So, what we're going to do